What's going on, everybody? Today I want to talk about what I like to call the wealth trifecta. It's something that I thought about because I see that people try to act like getting rich and wealthy is like very complex or complicated, but it's really not. It's very simple the way to get rich and build wealth. It might not be easy, you know, but it's simple. It's not complicated. It's just hard. That's it. And I see people out here trying to reinvent the wheel, and it's just like, look, there's three things that you need in order to build wealth. Um, so I'm gonna go over them in this video here. The three items or the three things that you need is number one, high income skill. Number two, investments. And number three is time. And I think there's a logical progression to it too. Like if I was to give my younger self the blueprint on how to make it and how to get rich, this is what I would tell him. I would tell him first, you need to get a skill that you can charge good money for, where you can bring in a good income and have steady cash flow. Now, that high income skill could be anything. There's people, that are electricians, there's people that are plumbers, there's people that are software programmers, there's people, I just moved into the insurance adjusting industry. There's all sorts of different jobs. Sales can be very lucrative. There's different jobs and different skills that align themselves with bringing in a high income. It's different for every person. What every individual needs to do is find out what skill they're willing to put in the time and effort to not only learn, but also master, to where they can be reliably, bring in a good income based off of that skill. And that could be through whether that's freelance or independent contractor work or working as an employee for a company. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the skill itself, because typically when you have a skill, then you can navigate around that industry and within that career field, whether that's moving different jobs, whether that's going from, full-time employee to freelancing or vice versa. There's different ways to navigate. For example, when I first learned SEO, which I actually learned SEO off of, well, I knew SEO to some extent because of my blogging experience, but I learned SEO really through Twitter because I had followed Kaval Shah. Shout out to Kaval. He's really good at SEO, and he had a mentorship at that time, which I took his mentorship, studied it, learned under him, and then, incorporated that with what I already knew. But I first kind of started off almost like in a more freelancer role, and then I flipped that experience to get a job at an agency working as a full-time employee. So that just goes to show, once you actually have a skill, there's different ways that you can leverage it. So having that high income skill is, I think, the basis and the foundation. Like if I was to go to the past or if I was to advise a group of younger kids, I would tell them to focus on the skill first, because you get the skill and then you can move more freely and independently. And then you can use the money and the cash flow that you're getting from that skill, which takes us to number two in the wealth trifecta, which is investing. Now, this is where a lot of people mess up, because they don't invest. Because investing is how you really build wealth, because that's the way to make your money work for you. If you're not making your money work for you, you're playing checkers, not chess. You need to be having your money put in work to get more money. Otherwise, you'll always just be trying to play catch up. Rich people don't make, the richest people in the world are rich off of investments, not actual work. Because when you have a high income skill, typically you're selling your time for money. So the money that you earn with your hard spent time and labor needs to now get put to work for you and help build you more money. If you have investments, then you can make money in your sleep, because while you're not working, your money is actually actively doing something or appreciating, hopefully, if you're making good investments. There's no real way to free your money from your time without having some sort of investment or ownership, because investment is when you own an asset. That investment could be owning a business that operates without you. That investment could be owning stocks. It could be owning cryptocurrency. It could be owning real estate. It could be doing equipment leasing out. There's all sorts of different investments. I mean, people on Twitter I see talk about doing the vending machines. There's different ways to do it, though. Some might argue that if you're a business owner and your business needs you to operate, that your time is still being tied to your money making, but that could be semantics. But really, when we're looking at investments, we're talking about assets that are going to help you to continue to either cash flow. So you have like things like rental properties, where people rent out the property and are getting cash flow every month, or hopefully you have appreciation. If you have a home and the value goes up and you sell it, same thing with stocks. You have like dividend stocks to where they pay you every however so often, whether it's every quarter or so. And then you also have stocks to where there's no dividends, but you're just hoping that it's going to increase in value so you can sell it. So that's number two, is you need investments. Now notice these are very broad categories: high income skills, investments. Like, there's so many things just within those areas. There's really something for everybody. You kind of have to figure out what works best for you. Everybody might not want to be getting into crypto, but there's stocks, there's index funds. Everybody might not want to get into real estate, but there's Roth IRAs, and there's other things that you can invest in. There's different investment vehicles. You just kind of have to find the ones that are going to work for your risk appetite, your risk tolerance, and just your general inclination, or what you want to do. Though obviously you want to pay attention to what's going to be lucrative and effective too, because you don't want to lose your money in bad investments. So the last thing is time. And this might be the most important thing, but you need time to accumulate assets, and you need time for assets to appreciate, and you need time in the market. What they always say is time in the market is better than timing the market, which means that it's more important to actually get in the game, because investing is not just a get rich quick scheme. It takes time, it takes a little bit of thinking and strategy, but most importantly, it takes time, because if I pick like the best stock that's going to perform super well, it's going to take time for that stock to actually grow in value. It's not just waving your magic wand. When it comes to like real estate, you see this a lot, where you might have to hold a property for a few years before it appreciates to a certain amount. Or with any investment, there might be a time frame to where it's not even performing, or where even the price decreases. One thing with investing is that basically, as the time goes on, you're going to have more of a compound effect. Time is really important, not just with the investing aspect, but even with the cash flow and high income skill aspect. Let's say you're making $10,000 a month. Sure, for 1 or 2 months, yeah, that's cool. But if you're able to do that consistently for 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, think of all the cash flow and all the liquid cash that you're going to accumulate that you can then put into these investments. Time is very important. It's not just a sprint, it's a marathon. This whole money game is a marathon, not a sprint. So you need to be thinking about all these things. They all come together when it comes to building wealth. But really, when you think about it, Those are really the three main factors. Is, you know, you want a high income skill, you want to have cash flow, as high cash flow as possible every month. Then you want to be leveraging your investments, and then you need time. You know, this isn't overnight success. It takes time to build something worthwhile and worth having. So when you first start investing, it might feel like, damn, I'm just putting this money here, what's gonna happen? But over time, you know, some markets move at different paces than other. Obviously, you have more traditional markets, or markets that might move a little bit more slowly, like real estate, when it comes to appreciation and things of that nature. Then you have markets that are much more volatile, but also have more upside yet more risk as well, like cryptocurrency, to where you have people, you know, investing in a coin, and the coin, you know, 10xing or 50xing, you know, within a month or two. But that's not really always the case. And I think that you can't really rely on these kind of get rich quick type of thinking when it comes to seriously making money and building wealth and gaining financial independence. You really need to have that foundation, and each area has you know, a certain foundation in and of itself. And if you're you know, if you're hitting all three, there's literally no way that you can lose. If you got you know, high income skill, and you're making money every month, good money every month, and you're investing it every month, and you do it for a long time, you do it for years, you're gonna win. Like, you're just going to win. So that's pretty much it. Wanted to talk about that. Definitely don't forget to like and subscribe and comment your thoughts below on the video. But I see way too many people trying to act like this is a complicated thing. You know, it's really not when you break it down and look at it. It's simple, though it's difficult. You know, it's not easy necessarily, but it's certainly not hard, or, you know, something that is rocket science. We're not reinventing the wheel here. You know, we're just making money, investing it, and we keep doing that as much as possible over time. And that's it. So that's the video for today. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.